Good morning, gentlemen. I hope everything is going well in your life these days. 2025 is already halfway over, which is pretty mind-blowing. It seems like a lot was leading up to this year. We had the presidential election and the change in regime and kind of the change in attitude in the United States, and luckily it's been fairly uneventful for the majority of us. So that's all a good thing. I wanted to say hello. Welcome to my small YouTube channel. I have a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart. It's definitely a gear nerd topic. I want to talk about BCM versus Geissele. What is better for your money in 2025? The changes that have happened with both of the companies over the past few years since I've really been a customer of theirs, and why I choose one or the other. And then I'll definitively tell you which company, if you could only pick one to buy rifles and rifle parts from, which one I would choose. So let's start with the history of my relationship with BCM and Geissele. I am only a consumer. My YouTube channel is far too small for me to have any sort of sponsorship or any official relationship with either of those companies. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not that interested in doing that anyway. This is just something I do for fun. BCM is kind of where I first got into the duty grade, well-built, well-made rifle systems. And the reason why, honestly, was because I broke a bunch of PSA rifles when I first got into 2-gun and 3-gun. I was training a lot. I was putting a lot of rounds through them. I had trigger pins walking all the time. I had really terribly installed handguards. I had barrels that weren't gassed well. I had a gas block walk. I had all sorts of bad things happen with these really junky, cheapy rifles. In that moment, I realized that PSA was not just as good. Now, this is like back in 2020, 2019, somewhere around there. And you know what? I stuck with it for a while. I actually put around 10 or 12,000 rounds on a 10.3 inch PSA. That gun ran really well for me. I actually sold it to a buddy of mine, still chugging along. So, not good rifles. If it's not reliable, I couldn't even call it good for the money. So don't buy really cheap stuff unless you're just messing around and wanting to have fun. So that led me to other weapon systems manufacturers like BCM. And I looked at BCM first because of its respect in the industry for its not only military contracts, but its pioneering of the 11.5 inch barrel design and system, and also its reputation for reliability and value. No one's ever said BCM is not a great rifle that runs. You know, I rarely hear anyone talk about issues with reliability. So I got into BCM. The first rifle I got from BCM because, again, I was penny pinching for no reason. I had the money to buy something nicer, but I got their SOCOM profiled barrel M4 with the old setup, kind of the GWAT look. I really liked it. I put I think a Midwest Industries handguard on it and ran an endpoint PRO with the Daniel Defense rear sight post, and I think I put it's either the Geissele trigger or an ALG trigger, one of the two. I no longer have that gun. I sold it to somebody on either Gunbroker or a local forum. I can't remember. Gun was great. It was overgassed. It was an M4. Thing was an absolute tank. I actually got an opportunity to run it with full auto lower one time, and it just soaked it up like it was nothing, which is what those SOCOM barrels were designed to do. So that was my first experience with BCM. BCM is great. Then I bought a 14.5 inch ELW, which is their thinner profile barrel upper, and I got that thing for like $550 on a blim sale, like at Halloween or something 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a long time, but I got that thing for very little money. And it was before they did the free bolt carrier group. So, you know, after they started doing that, it was an even better deal. But I think I paid like $500 or maybe $600 after tax. It was a very affordable upper that came with everything but the bolt carrier group and the charging handle. And I'm not picky on charging handles, but I've got that gun here. I've shown you guys this gun before. It's my GPR. But this upper right here is the one I'm talking about. I love this upper. This upper's got over 10,000 rounds on it. I've spent far more on ammunition than I have on the actual upper itself, which is what you're supposed to do. Shoot more ammo and get good. However, Over the years, I've started to see the accuracy degrade a little bit, but I mean, I've put a lot of rounds in the gun in quick succession, and I've suppressed it, so it's to be expected. It's certainly still my main squeeze. I can still get 1.5 MOA to 2 MOA on it, and I can slap steel out to, 600-ish pretty easily. 500 very easily. 600 is where things start getting very ammo dependent. Anyway, so that was my experience with BCM. Love it. Awesome. I got myself for my 30th birthday? I think it was my 30th birthday. I decided to give myself something nice, and I ended up getting a blemish Super Duty upper, and it's an 11.5, and I've got that rifle here. And boy, was I not disappointed. This is, in my opinion, the best built upper that I have ever owned. I know there's nicer stuff out there, but just the quality, even on a blim, just the marking of the nuts and bolts that are holding the rifle and the upper together, the Loctite on everything, the lining up of all the edges and the lines. I mean, there was an extreme amount of care and time that was taken to assemble that upper in compared to even my BCM. And that's, I don't have anything negative to say about my BCM at all. So like, it was very apparent when I got that 11.5 right out of the gate, how much more care and time and attention was taken to at the very least, the assembly process, right? I hadn't shot it yet, and it was impressive. And I know there's probably going to be some guys in the comment that are going to be like, oh, I had this bad experience with the Geissele. And I'm sure you have. Like, there's companies make mistakes all the time. But the point is, I got a good one, and it was a blim as well. I couldn't even find the blim. I truly couldn't to this day. I went out, shot with it one time, and scratched it up enough to where there was just no way I was going to find the blim anyway. Well, the cool thing about that is I think for that upper, I paid out the door definitely under $900. And now I get it, 900 is not 600 like I paid for the BCM. It is 50% more money. And at the time, I thought, I'm gonna, get myself something nice. And so I expected to pay more money for the Geissele. Well, let's talk about, before I get into comparing the two from a value point of view, like what's better for your money, let's talk about the actual performance differences between the two rifle manufacturers that I have experienced. And I wish that I cared enough to go and edit and add a bunch of bullet points, but I'm not gonna. Y'all just stick with me here. BCM, the true thing that BCM is good at is they make very solid barrels, very solid handguards, and their QC is excellent. So in general, your rifle is going to run. It's going to last you a long time. Their bolt carrier groups are also the industry standard. They're no frills, amazingly well-built rifles, going to be reliable, QC very high, okay? Geissele, they take that mentality, assume all those things I just described to you, and they click it up a notch. They add an extra level of precision and creativity and uniqueness on their materials and some of their design to those basic mil-spec parts. Their bolt carrier group, I think it's overbuilt. Okay, I don't want to pay $300 for any dang bolt carrier group, but the thing is impressive. It's like a CAC sand cutter. Just a very, very impressive, creative design. Great. Their barrels are all cold hammer forged, and they all have a specific gas port design for the most part, or a barrel length that is proprietary to Geissele. It's not just mid-length, not just carbine length, not just rifle length. They actually have Geissele lengths, okay? And that's really relevant if you suppress your guns. In my experience, Geissele's out of the box suppress really, really well. You just don't need adjustable gas blocks or any of that stuff. You can still get all that, but I mean, good luck getting that gas block off. Another thing about Geissele that they do is that their gas blocks are bomb-proof. Those things are pinned gas blocks. They are not coming off that barrel. And if every single barrel you buy from them is cold hammer forged, good luck shooting it out. So if you want to put a full auto lower on a good upper, like Geissele is an excellent choice because it is going to be tough to burn that thing to pieces. I think it's the Mark 16 handguard or the Mark 18 handguard, y'all can correct me. That's where Bendy Bill got his nickname, Bendy Bill. It had some issues early on, but that handguard is phenomenal. Lockup is really tight. It's great for night vision use. You're not going to get any sort of like movement on your lasers. It's not stupid heavy, but it's also not lightweight. It doesn't heat up as fast as the BCM, which is a big problem with the BCM handguards. They heat up like crazy really fast. Again, nothing negative to say about the BCM. Geissele takes it a step further. And if you get an entire Geissele rifle, like their trigger is the industry standard. Their internal parts kit, pretty much the industry standard. BCM's is good too. Their buffer system, the Voltor buffer system, I believe is what it's called. It's the braided spring buffer system, the industry standard, arguably the best buffer system out there. Their barrels, their handguards, everything that Geissele does, for the most part, is an industry standard, and there's a reason why the Army Rangers issued the URGI to replace the phenomenal Block 2 rifle, which was a Daniel Defense, contract with, I believe it was Colt. It was a Colt and Daniel Defense. You guys can correct me, but very good rifle. Wasn't as good as the URGI. And that's just the bottom line with Geissele. Now let's talk about the value differences between the two. Because when I bought these rifles, back then, this is again about 4 or 5 years ago when I bought my first one, you had BCM, the pinnacle of value. This thing is not going to fail you, and you're not going to feel like you spent too much money on it, and nobody who has a really expensive rifle is going to make fun of you for having a BCM. It is the Toyota Camry, the Glock 19. It is going to get the job done. It is always a good choice. Awesome. That still hasn't really changed. What has changed is Geissele, right? All those same things can be said about it. The nice things about how well built it is, up another notch, higher quality, anodized parts, more creativity in their design, more military contracts. They are crazy with their sales, okay? You can get a Geissele Super Duty out the door, off the rack rifle on sale for Halloween or Memorial Day or Labor Day or July 4th. I mean, they just pick a holiday and they run those sales, especially at Primary Arms. You can get, I have seen a 16-inch or a 16-inch Super Duty or a 14.5 pin and weld Super Duty for sale for $13.99. Out the door. The whole rifle. Everything Geissele top to bottom. And I don't even think that was a blim. I think that was just a black rifle last time I saw that. Guys, that is cheaper than a BCM rifle off the rack. BCM doesn't run sales like that. Geissele does all the time. Since 4 years ago, BCM has also increased their price like crazy. I just went in and spec'd out a BCM upper, okay, the same way I spec'd out the one that I bought 4 years ago. I added a Surefire muzzle device, which is what you would get on the BCM or on the Geissele, or I think now they use Huxworks, but it's an expensive muzzle device, right? And I spec'd out the BCM ambidextrous charging handle, which is their comparison to the Geissele airborne charging handle. And I'll tell you right now, that thing with a blim, right? So it's the best deal you can get on BCM's website with the free bolt carrier group. That upper was $878 before tax. Okay? $878. That's your upper, your muzzle device, your bolt carrier group, and your charging handle. Everything you need, slap an optic on it and throw a suppressor on it and you're good to go, right? That used to cost $150 or more less than it does now, okay? And I realize times have gotten tough, things got more expensive. I actually emailed BCM like a year ago when they increased their prices the first time. I was like, hey guys, what's going on? And they just said, hey, parts and labor have gone up. I said, hey, God bless you. I hope your business keeps doing well. Good. I bought BCM stuff since then, right? Got to roll with the times. I get it. However, a fully loaded Geissele upper with the airborne charging handle, the Geissele bolt carrier group, which is superior, the Geissele barrel, which is superior, the Geissele handguard, which is superior, a tan anodizing, which is cooler than black, right, if you want it. All those little things cost more money to manufacture. You can get that upper not on sale for about $1,000 before tax, okay? So that is $125 more than a BCM, not on sale, all right? You can go get that right now. I looked it up. I think it was like it was $1,000 and $1,011 or something from Euro Optic. You can go get that right now. Black upper. I think they had the tanadized one was like $50 more or something. Anyway, so we're talking about within $200 of that BCM. Well, yeah, that's a difference, but that was not a blim. That was just a Geissele upper, no sale. Now, whenever the sale's going on, you can go get that Geissele upper, the same one I talked about, not even a blim, for $150, $200 less than that. Now suddenly you're the same price as the BCM, but you're getting a Geissele. And there lies the problem. I've been long-winded about this explanation, but this is the core of the message I'm trying to drive home between these two manufacturers. Both of them are good. BCM has become more expensive than it's worth. Geissele has continued to hold their pricing standards to a very, very reasonable place, and they do sales all the time. So if it were me and I could only buy one rifle to rule them all between the two of these, right? And I had, finite resources. I'm not talking about in a perfect world where you have unlimited money. I would buy a Geissele. I would do that now. It's a better built gun. It's got a more accurate, better barrel. It's going to last me longer. It is simply more well thought through. It is going to be more useful over time. They have more barrel lengths even. Just everything about it is just 10, 15% better than the BCM. And again, this is going to sound like a BCM hate video. I have more rounds through a BCM than any other gun that I own. And I love my BCM. I will not be getting rid of it. But when I shoot that barrel out, you best believe it, that I'm going to pull out that BCM barrel, remove that BCM handguard, and I'm going to throw a Geissele barrel in there, or a Daniel Defense barrel, and I'm going to throw a Geissele handguard on it. That's just what I'm going to do. You know why? Because it's better. And there's nothing wrong with that. BCM never was really trying to compete with Geissele. It was always like the Colt competitor, but not ran by a complete shitbird company like Colt. And I get it. Like, that's a great place to be in the marketplace. However, now when your pricing is the way that it is, the way that BCM has changed things, it's just not the value it used to be. It really isn't. I mean, you can go look. When you're spending $2,000 out the door for a rifle with an optic at the cheapest, you've got a lot of options now. Like, before BCM, you could spend like $1,000, $1,100 and get a really good upper, assemble your lower, and be ready to roll. Like, have a great setup that rivals much higher end setups. Man, like, good luck doing that now. Like, it is very hard to get it under $1,100. You're starting to spend as much money in it as a Geissele, and at that point, just get the Geissele. Like, why not? It's all expensive, so you might as well get the best thing for your money that you can. I'm not going to hold any of this against these two rifle makers, because I think the whole Bendy Bill thing was kind of like overblown and also funny. I'm glad it stuck. Like, so that's hilarious. But like, you don't have to worry about your QC if you buy a Geissele. They'll take good care of you, right? Same thing with BCM. BCM had a really bad barrel problem like 4 or 5 years ago. There's some guys I've talked to before, Gun Thoughts, RIP to their channel. I love those guys. They made some really funny content. I talked to them a couple of times just in DMs, and they had huge problems with their BCM upper, and they were all grumpy about it, as they should have been. And then BCM like pulled some BS and was like, hey, your firing cadence was too fast, like basically giving them some like FUD response about how barrels heat up too fast and you should be shooting it every 2 seconds or something. It was a bunch of crap. Like, BCM really stepped in it. I get it. That was dumb. But that being said, I have not had that experience. I've owned several BCMs. I've only owned one Geissele, but all of my friends now have Super Duties. Because I bought one and I was like, guys, this is this is really good, and you should shoot it, and when it comes on sale, go grab one. And I mean, like, in 1 year, I think it was 2023, all of us bought Geissele's. 2022, 2023, like, everybody I shoot with got an 11.5 or a 10.3 or a 14.5 Geissele. Now everyone but like one of the guys I train with has one. So kind of speaks for itself, man. I mean, the Geissele is a phenomenal rifle. Also, accuracy wise, it is unreal. So for the money, like, unreal. I have not seen a Geissele barrel that was not 1 MOA. I don't even think they have a 1 MOA guarantee, but like, those things just group. I don't know what it is, and I don't really care about that. Like, if it's a 2 MOA rifle and down, like, it's perfectly good for fighting rifle for me. I don't need better than that. But those freaking Geissele barrels, those things absolutely group. They're also really good for running like a full auto or an FRT lower. We just ran mine pretty hard a couple weeks ago, and it just doesn't care, right? It's cold hammer forged barrel, profile is really sharp, really smart, and it just dissipates heat really well. So anyway, I feel like I'm just singing Geissele's praises here and dumping on BCM. I'm not. I love both. You can't go wrong with both. But if it were my money today, Geissele. So I hope this was educational for you guys. I actually get a lot of questions about Geissele and BCM because they're some of the most popular brands out there. And guys that are more serious about the rifles are some of the first brands they look at, as they should be. They deserve it. BCM and Geissele are phenomenal companies with phenomenal track records. They'll be around for a long time, I imagine. And so if you're looking for your first rifle, either of them is great. If it was my money, you cannot beat Geissele these days. And in the comments below, somebody else tell me if you disagree, or if you have another suggestion for another rifle manufacturer that's comparable. There are some others that are in the same realm, right? Just because I'm not mentioning it doesn't mean I haven't considered them. Companies like Psionics and Sons of Liberty Gunworks, and there's all sorts of other really good rifle manufacturers in the under $2,000 category. Griffin actually kind of slept on, very good rifles for the money. But I do not think any of those hold a candle to the Geissele cost to quality ratio. They just seem to have that really tied down, that market. They kind of own it, and it's because they do great on the sales. You know, I mean, 4 or 5 times a year you can get a Geissele for 30-40% less than MSRP, sometimes 50. I mean, you got to jump on that. So anyway, hope you guys had a great morning. Appreciate you listening to my rant. Hopefully this is beneficial and educational for you, and please let me know in the comments what you think.